Are you listening? Damn.
Another episode of Trash Talk here. TJ O'Connor, as always, with my partner, Damian Hill. We're joined tonight by Rodney Nash, who is kickboxing Nick Klein, September 14 for Three River Throwdown. Trash Talk sponsored, as always, by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated and Ink Shrinks Tattoo. How you doing tonight, Rodney?
Not bad, not bad.
Good. Glad you can get you to join here. I know this is one we've been trying to set up here for the last couple days. Excited to have you on. You have a big fight coming up September 14th, like I said. Now, it is a kickboxing match, but for those who don't know, as far as our MMA rankings go, you're number 4. You're challenging the number 1 guy. What was it like when you got that call, and what was that excitement when you signed for that fight?
It's pretty exciting, actually. I know that Nick has he's been on quite the tear lately. He's just won a title. I think he's only ever lost one fight, too.
Yeah.
Pretty solid guy.
Yeah, I mean, his one loss did come up at light heavyweight. Granted, you two are two guys that have been making the jump between light heavyweight and 185. I mean, and fuck, dude, I just fucked that up.
You had it right.
Excuse me. Yeah, I know, but I was smoking before we started, so excuse me, Rodney. But you've made the jumps back and forth also, and one of your kickboxing matches that came at Valhalla, I guess technically was that you didn't weigh that much, but it was technically at heavyweight. I mean, how do you feel you match up against his size?
I think me and him are about the same size. He's probably a little bit lankier than me, but it's probably not nearly as bad as that heavyweight I fought. That guy was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen that fight. He was a big guy, but let's not let the viewers be mistaken. That was a fight you won. Size didn't play key for that. You were able to maneuver here. For those who aren't as familiar with you, how did you get into MMA? What's your background? Where are you training at these days?
I grew up wrestling with my little brother and my cousin, and then I just wanted to start competing again and went to like a local gym here in La Crosse, and now I'm training at Ironworks in Holman.
Okay.
Yeah, and you guys have a ton of killers over at Ironworks. I mean, a lot of great talent. Who have you been working with mainly getting ready for this kickboxing match?
Quite a few people. I've worked a lot with Ben Ross.
Yeah. I think you get a good look at the size. I think they pretty much have the same build, him and your opponent. Yeah.
Ben hits pretty hard too, so that's always fun.
Yeah, it's great work to have such a strong teammate who's actually preparing for the same night as well. It allows guys to work together, peak together, and get that work. Going about Nick, you mentioned, he's had a dominant career himself, but I feel like yours was a roller coaster would be a good ride. Like, kind of started off a little slow, but you've won 5 out of your last 6 fights in MMA. It's been a while since your last MMA fight. Damian mentioned you have been doing a lot of kickboxing matches. Is that something that you've geared towards? Was that a mental decision to take a lot of striking fights, or was that just what's been lining up for you?
Yeah, it's been more of a mental decision. I kind of wanted to stick to boxing and kickboxing for a little bit. Okay. I'm not a big fan of wrestling, actually.
Yeah. I mean, he even mentioned the fact that you've had more kickboxing matches than he's had, and you've been more experienced and you're more of a striker. How do you feel your experience is going to match up against his, and what advantages do you think you're going to have in this fight?
I'm not really sure, actually. I haven't seen much of his stand-up, so I'm not really sure what to expect. I think I'll have a little bit better technique, but he'll have a lot better conditioning, I'm sure. Not that
you're just going to throw that out there right away. I mean, it's not like you don't train too hard. I mean, you didn't gas in your last fight.
No.
Yeah.
He's just a better athlete, maybe.
Okay, that's respectable. I mean, somebody giving your opponent that much respect. I mean, and then probably has to play a little bit of a factor in the training. I mean, knowing that he might not gas, so you got to fight smart. I mean, especially if you think his cardio is a little bit better, without giving too much away of too much of your game plan away. What can the fans expect to see from you that night?
A lot of technique.
Yeah. Simple. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I think that sums up your style. You're a guy who, I've had a chance to see fight live multiple times. Real technical, hands up, walk forward, leg kicks. When it comes to this fight here, I know it was announced quite some time ago, but knowing that Nick went through and had a whole other fight camp, another fight, a tough fight at that, do you feel like that's something that's going to benefit you, being how you've been focusing on one guy where, not saying that he didn't know what he was doing, but he had a lot on his plate for this month?
Maybe. I'm sure that he was pretty focused. It was a title fight and everything, so this one isn't quite as important, I don't imagine, for him. So, and I've been focusing mainly on kickboxing, where he would have been focusing on grappling and stuff like that too. So I think that might help me a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. As one of those guys that split time between training, I'd be getting ready for a boxing match, but the goal is I'm an MMA fighter. So I would go to jiu-jitsu, wrestling practice, and boxing, and still try to stay focused on everything. And it wasn't until I honestly, the Marcus Morris fight, one of the better boxers in the state, when I was fighting him, I finally just decided I'm only going to train in boxing. And I ended up pulling off the upset and the win, So it's like when you're focused on one thing and honing your skills in the one thing, it's like you make jumps a little bit quicker. And I'm not saying that that he's any slouch in the stand-up department, but we just haven't seen it. And I know for a fact that you're one of those guys that has it, and can only imagine the jumps that you've made from your last fight to this fight. I mean, especially since you've been staying so consistent with your Muay Thai.
Yeah, I've had I feel like I've had a good jump these last couple of months.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's always great to feel. I mean, we're just over a week and a half away from the fight here now. This is going to be your second fight of 2019 here so far. Not to look past or anything else, is this something where you're looking to stay more active, or do you expect a little bit of layoff to improve your skill moving forward here between fights?
I might try to sneak in another kickboxing fight and maybe a boxing one by the end of the year.
Okay. So looking to stay pretty active towards the end of 2019 here. Like I said, I look forward to this fight. It's one that's kind of flown under the radar just because it's a kickboxing match on an MMA show, but I feel like the talent and the level of competition in this fight speaks for itself. Just before we wrap it up here tonight, Rodney, is there any teammates or sponsors you want to give a special shout out to?
I'd like to thank all of my teammates at Ironworks. Ben for all the help he's given me, my cousin Zach. I'd like to actually thank, I coach at a gym downtown La Crosse. It's a boxing gym. I'd like to thank Nate Coleman and The Good Fight. They've helped me a little bit on my boxing. And then all of my sponsors, Gold Heart Tattoos, Valvoline, good Lord. What other ones? I forget.
If you write them down and send them to me.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
Concepts, and I think that's it.
Well, I can add them in the title of the video too. So
perfect.
Yeah, everybody. But it's great to have the support behind you that it sounds like you do. Such a great camp, and I look forward to this show, Three River Throwdown. You always know what to expect on those cards, and I wish you nothing but the best of skill here finishing up your camp, Rodney, and good luck in the fight.
Thanks, man.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.